The Raptors struggle against the Orlando Magic. 103-97 is your final. Welcome inside the Scotia Club at the Scotiabank Arena.
I'm Randy Irvin. At the club.
This is Raptors Night Cap, and this is my speed date.
There you go.
Leo Rautins, how are you? We should do
go.
that better.
All right, there you go.
Date night. Yeah, I got you your favorite meal. I got you some sushi.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about that.
You like vegetables or no? I should learn a lot more about you if we're going to keep doing this.
You should know. At this point.
And all the wings are for you. But Leo, I think I just spit. Anyway, not a good first impression. Leo, let's talk about the game. Obviously, second straight loss for the Raptors at home. Just your first impressions of this one.
Well, I mean, offense has gone dry, right?
Yeah.
And there are reasons for it, but, the offense has disappeared. And then the defense, I mean, hey, you want to make runs, you want to get it back into games, you got to score, you got to get stops. And it's one or the other in this game. I mean, the Raptors scored, they couldn't get a stop. Raptors get a stop, they can't score. So it's been very disjointed. They didn't force turnovers. They gave up offensive rebounds. They gave up second chance points. So it's a tough game. And, Pascal Siakam, a lot of pressure on him. Mm-hmm. He delivered, but it was a one-man party. I mean, Malachi gave a little bit of a boost in the fourth quarter, but by and large, it was just no offense, right?
Do you think that they looked a little emotionally drained or physically drained?
It's been a tough grind. 6 games in 8 days, right?
Yeah.
So that's without a doubt, that's a factor. Not having OG, not having Fred, that's a factor. Yet at the same time, you're playing 2 of the worst teams in the league, back to back.
You got to beat.
And don't think that Orlando wasn't incentivized by watching the Detroit game last night, right? They're going, hey, these guys came in, they played hard, they got a W. We can do the same thing, and
So no OG, obviously no Fred, and that's a big deal for me, right? You're missing 2 starters, and we've talked about this before. There isn't a lot of margin for error with this team, right? Just the way they're presently constructed and how they're sort of ascending in their development. So that's a big deal. But do you think that they're kind of getting away from their brand of basketball a little bit here in the last couple of games? And how so?
Well, people talk about length, right?
Yeah.
The things they can do defensively. That's only good if you're playing with a high level of intensity. And also, you got to be locked in, right? You got to know your rotations. You got to know your matchups. It's not just playing with length, right? So you look at Detroit. They came in and they played with a high level of physicality and took it to the Raptors. Orlando came in and did the same thing, played with a high. So where's your length? What's your length doing for you?
Yeah.
Now, you don't have Fred, one of the top defensive point guards. That's going to hurt you, right? OG is the most versatile defender on the team. He can guard any position. You don't have him, that's going to hurt you. Yet at the same time, it just seemed that there's a lack of focus right now. And again, you could call fatigue, call anything you want, but there's definitely a lack of focus that they got to find a way out of.
Yeah, and not a great thing going into this long road trip coming up, right? You got to write this right away because I think this is a crucial stretch of the season. Obviously, it's a crucial stretch. I mean, last 20 games, but for the Raptors in the position they're in, this is huge right now.
Yeah, and these were games that you wanted to get to keep you where you are, right?
Yeah.
These games kind of keep you where you are. Now, if you play Cleveland and win, that starts moving you up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Now you kind of put yourself in a tougher situation where you're going to have to find a way to get some win streaks like you had pre-All-Star break, right? You're going to have to find a way to get it together and try to do that, but it gets a lot tougher if you got to hit the road to do it, right?
So I'm watching this game and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, make your run now. And in the fourth quarter, it felt like the energy picked up, felt like the team was playing better. But every time the Raptors did, a few good things in a row, Orlando hit some threes.
That's what I'm saying. So you do some good things offensively.
Yeah.
If you don't get the stops to match, you can't make a run. And so, say they get it to 8, all of a sudden 3. Do something, 3, boom.
Happened all the time.
And that was exactly the way the Detroit game was, right? And if you're a player, okay, you finally get something going here, right? Just a little fight, no big deal. And you give up. You could see guys, like, all of a sudden there's a time they're looking at the clock, they're going,
yeah.
It's just this uphill battle, right? And it's really hard to play that way.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting both the stops and the scores, you can't make a run.
So was there telling stats for you that kind of stood out?
Well, they didn't force turnovers. They didn't score off turnovers. And like I said, say you defend. You do a good job defensively, but you give up offensive rebounds, which is second chance points. So you're not finishing the defensive possession.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you don't finish your defensive possession, you played crappy defense because it's together. They go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
I can't play great D and not get the rebound.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. So that's the problem right now. And, it becomes a big issue.
Orlando's better than their record. I know everyone says you are your record, but when you look at this team, there's things to be excited about.
It's young
up
talent.
and down. Yeah,
So
for sure.
They got some good young players.
Jeff Weltman's done a good job of putting this squad together, not obviously for now, but for the next few years.
I mean, there's good pieces to keep building on.
Yeah.
No question about that. And then they're going to have to obviously supplement with some free agents. Mm-hmm. Like the Raptors, you find some guys who can fit in and help the young guys. But they know what their plan is, and that's what they're into. But for the Raptors, it's a whole different scenario, and they just can't get caught like that.
What did you think of? Obviously, a lot's going to be made of these two guys. Obviously, the rest of their careers because of where they were drafted. But Suggs and Barnes going at it again. They're not guarding each other really, but just sort of two teams with those two players. How did you assess that situation?
I like Suggs. I mean, I didn't buy the hype with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, he go 4 or 5 where you want. That's okay. He struggles with. I mean, he can score, but he struggles with his shooting, and I think a lot of that is you're on a team where play can be inconsistent.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know where all your shots come from. You're a rookie. You're trying to figure it all out. So there's rationale for that.
Yeah.
He's an excellent on-ball defender. I like when he goes to the hoop. He attacks. He uses his body. He showed me a lot of good things in the game. Scotty, hey, we know Scotty. Scotty's been outstanding, and a tougher game. Like Scotty, if you remember, I said this at the beginning of the year. Scotty's a high IQ player. When the better the pieces are around him, the better he is because he plays off of everybody, right? But if everybody's struggling and you're asking him to carry you, that's not where he is right now. So again, like if Fred's out there clicking, Gary Trent's knocking down shots, Pascal's doing his thing, he just kind of plays off everybody. And that's like a veteran kind of mentality. So, I mean, we know what Scotty can do. But I tell you, Wagner's a good player too.
He's shown me something this year.
Yeah,
for sure.
he's and nobody talks about him because he's Orlando.
Yeah.
But he can play.
Yeah.
He's going to be he's going to have a long career in this league.
There's some people not that high on him in the draft, and Orlando stuck with him. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, draft is an inexact science, right?
Right.
You got a lot of opinions when it comes to the draft.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to the Raptors. If
you notice nobody ever eats the wings when we're doing this? Until it's over. You know why?
Sherm does.
It's sloppy.
Well, we can't, if I'm going to start eating a wing, how am I going to ask you a question? We need more people around the table to, take their turn.
Well,
you can eat it, though. Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid. I'm just saying this is where it gets kind of sloppy.
Okay, yeah, you're really getting.
But I'm not afraid to do this.
No, you should. So, get in there.
Go ahead, ask your question.
How's the date going so far?
Probably won't be a second day.
You don't know that. You know what? You might be contractually obligated to be here with me.
Well, there are words for that. That's not a date.
That's not a date, though. Okay. No. So we won't get into that. Okay, so you're the coach of this team. Not only were you a great player, you're a great coach. So tell me, as a coach, how do you get them out of this funk?
Get Fred back, get OG back, right? Gary Trent making shots again.
Yeah.
Hey, you can be a great coach. You need players. You need players, especially this is a talent league. You need players. And you need players to do what they do. Mm-hmm. I mean, Gary Trent's got to score. He's a scorer. Mm-hmm. You look when the Raptors had their 8-game win streak, right? What was Gary Trent doing? Putting up numbers.
Yeah.
Right now, he can't see the bottom of the basket, so that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's because you don't have other guys, so defenses can lock in on Gary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it changes a lot, but you can tell his confidence isn't there right now.
Yeah. He's kind of willing those shots to go in.
He's aiming.
Yeah,
he doesn't have that bounce in his shot.
Yeah.
So, Nick's going to keep searching. I think they got to stay positive with guys. You got to stay positive and know that they can play better. But it goes back to what I said at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. This team, they walk a fine line. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of margin for error. Mm-hmm. And when you have guys out of the lineup, it shows you how vulnerable they are. Even with everybody in the lineup, everything's got to click, or it can go south quickly, right? So it's just a question of how quickly can you get everybody back and kind of regroup, right?
Yeah. I'm going to ask this question really slowly so you can eat your chicken.
Good idea. I'll be there in a second.
Malachi Flynn. No.
Yep.
I'm watching him,
Yep.
and
I'm listening.
yeah, he's getting better every game. And I know that's like a kind of a blanket statement, but the confidence, his head is up, the decisions he's making, he's taking shots when he's open, he's not hesitating, he's making the right decision, I think, which is you got to figure that out as a point guard, right? That's the hardest thing to do in this league, right? Everybody in this league has been a great player, but to get in this league, you got to figure stuff out. Now, he's starting to do that. I like that. I like this. This could be a blessing in disguise with Fred missing this time because they'll need somebody to give them some minutes come playoff time and down the stretch.
Agree. But what's the one thing, go back to last season.
Yeah.
What's the one thing Nick Nurse has said about Malachi?
He's got to play fast, downhill.
Be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Downhill.
Yeah.
Okay, for 3/4 of the
On
game.
the spot there.
I know, you were a little nervous.
I was like,
I
what's
thought
this
he was
guy?
starting to sweat right there.
Yeah.
But
That's more because I'm sitting beside a living legend.
oh yeah. But you saw that he
Kidding.
for
No.
3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
He struggled. He wasn't being aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay, you're playing against the zone.
Yeah.
Attack it. Put the ball on the floor. Get in the paint. Attack it.
Yeah.
Push the ball up the floor. It wasn't happening. Fourth quarter, it happened. Raptors are in the ball game, right? Malachi Flynn has to realize that if you want to play, you got to be that guy. You got to be aggressive. You can't wait till the fourth quarter to do it. Now, I'll give in his defense. He hasn't played all year. Now you're just playing your third, fourth game where you're playing heavy minutes. It could be taking, your legs could be feeling it, right? But at the same time, if you want to be that guy to give Fred a little relief, cut Fred's minutes down, which would be great. And remember, that could be 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But it's got to be. He's got to understand that Nick Nurse has told him what he needs.
Yeah.
Downhill,
Yeah.
aggressive. There was one play. Malachi's was like 4 or 7 from 3 or whatever it was. He's got the ball, kicks out. He's got the shot. He gives it to Scotty. Scotty shoots it.
And I remember that exact play.
Why?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah. It was probably the right pass.
No, it wasn't a right pass.
I know what you're saying.
The right pass is the guy that's got the hot hand,
Yes,
or the guy that's
yes.
got the best chance
Yeah.
to shoot it,
Yeah.
shoots it.
Yeah.
That was him.
Yeah.
So, and I said on the air, just because the guy's open doesn't mean
it's
to
the
give
right
it to
pass.
him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, Scotty, he's not a three-point shooter. Malachi, you're shooting the ball well in this game right now, so take that shot. So, if he makes that shot, and that was a fairly close game at a time. It was closer than it would have been. That helps. That maybe that turns the corner. So decisions like that are important, and you got to make the right ones in those situations, right?
And Watanabe too, on the same level. Like he was a guy coming into the beginning of the season that he was going to be impactful, in my opinion. I'm like, this was going to be an impactful player coming off the bench, meaningful minutes, and then he got COVID, and he kind of struggled coming out of that. Now, I would like to see what I saw more of today, obviously, right?
Well, so in Watanabe's situation, you get the aggression.
Yeah.
And he did that. He came in the game, he was scrapping and block shot, all kinds of stuff. With him, he's got to make some shots, right? Made a 3, but he missed one, had a bad turnover too.
Yeah.
So you can't have those turnovers, and his whole thing for minutes is you got to make some shots, because he'll do everything else. I mean, he's going to work his tail off when he comes in there, but you got to do that. You got to make some shots. You got to make your open shots, and you can't afford turnovers, especially when you're trying to get back in a game. I think he was effective. He came in and tried to make a difference.
You got to build on that. That's what we're hoping for. I think that's what Nick Nurse is hoping for. That's what Watanabe's hoping for. All right, that's great stuff about the Raptors. Let's lastly, really quickly, switch gears here.
Want to talk about the wings? They're not bad.
Wings are good.
They actually got a lot of flavor.
Are you a wing guy? Like, is that? Or if you had sushi or wings first, what would you pick?
Well, I try to eat healthier, so I go with sushi. But if you put wings in front of me, like here,
yeah, you're not backing down.
on date night,
Did you see Russell Westbrook's comments?
No.
Where someone asked him, you didn't envision this, the season going like this, and he kind of was like, well, what did I envision? How do you know what I envisioned? And it was just like another one of these situations. Like, what do you make of that whole thing?
You got a guy that doesn't want to answer the questions, doesn't want to talk about it.
Is he done? He's 18-7-7 this year.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
43% shooting, 43 turnovers a night.
18-7-7. So what is he normally?
20.
18-7-7.
10 and 10.
No, he's right around there. Okay, right around there. That's career-wise. That's who he is.
Okay.
So you bring in a guy that does what he does, takes bad shots, high turnover, plays out of control, and has to have the ball in his hands. You put him with LeBron, who's got to have the ball in his hands, some other veterans that need the ball, and then you wonder why it may not be working. And he's also making like $50 million a year. So, I mean, come on. You got Russell Westbrook. Are you surprised? Then you don't know what you're doing. Hey, I'm a fan of his effort.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of his talent, but I'm not a fan of how he plays the game.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. I wouldn't want to play with him.
Was there a point in his career where you were like, that's a guy I want on my team?
No, I loved his
Really?
intensity. I love the way he went at people.
Yeah.
But I didn't like his decision making.
Yeah.
Some people got mad when I said, he plays for stats. Well, guess what? He plays for stats, right? There's a lot of guys. Hey, if LeBron wanted to average a triple-double, he could average a triple-double. There's guys that can do that, but that's not what you do.
What about OKC Russ? Remember when the Raptors would go in there? The
guy's a super talented player.
Yeah.
But OKC Russ was just Russ.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like I said, if you're the Lakers and you're surprised, I don't know what you're surprised at.
Yeah.
And he's just getting tired of people asking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody says, hey, look at your turnovers. So next game he doesn't get a turnover. Well, you didn't do anything. So, hey, what message are you sending?
Yeah.
You didn't prove anything.
Yeah.
It's like a little kid saying, don't eat the chocolate or something, and then
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
It's
They're in trouble. They're in trouble. It's despite the Raptors losing these two games, I still think I like that situation better than what's ever going on in LA. Anyway, I appreciate you doing this. Grade this date out of 10. Would you have it again? Like, is there anybody you want to set me up with? No, I'm kidding.
Are you gonna? If you keep bringing the food, bringing these nice cups of water,
mine is water.
we might have another date. All right.
You want some honey garlic wings next time or what?
No. Do you need me to? Do you want me to, invite somebody? Like,
Yeah, let's get some more people in here. Let's get a little stale on my
some company.
Yeah, let's get a little stale on my part. Thanks for doing this, though. I appreciate it. Next game for the Raptors is going to go Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern in Cleveland.
If you want a date with Randy, that's what we're going to do. We're going to call Date Night with Randy.
It's called Nightcap.
Send me a message. Yeah, send me a message at Leo Rautins on Twitter or Twine and Wine with Leo on Instagram.
I'm doing pretty good. Don't
and
worry
we'll see
about
if we can set up Date Night with Randy.
Quite fine.
On Nightcap.
I appreciate that. I'm quite fine. Thank you.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because you're making a big deal about me hanging with you. I think you need a date.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks again. Thank you for watching. Don't listen to this man other than the basketball talk. Next game for the Raptors, 7:30.
Send me a message.
Sunday.
And we'll set up a
Against
date.
the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tip off 7:30. We'll see you then.
Randy needs a date.
We'll see you then.
He needs a date.
Stop.